We're going to be looking today at defining repair and the limitations, and then how that feeds in to tenants' repairing obligations, and in particular around terminal dilapidations claims, and how it also feeds into repair and the landlord's ability to recover costs of works through the service charge. As we'll see, there are some helpful limitations from a tenant's perspective concerning repairing obligations, not so much from a tenant's perspective concerning service charge recoverability. But we're looking at both repair obligations within the context of the word repair and also service charge obligations within the context of repair. So if there is no deterioration, then the obligation to repair and the ability to recover costs of repair is simply not triggered. And so inherent defects might be part and parcel of the repairing obligation, depending on the words of it, but there must be a deterioration. And if there is no deterioration, then there can be no obligation. The obligation to repair has not yet been triggered. There can be no repair if there's been no disrepair, and if there's no deterioration, there is no disrepair. So in the Post Office and Aquarius case, a design defect probably could have been poor workmanship, nobody quite knew, caused water to flood into the basement, and then it would vanish again. So you would say, I would say, that that's disrepair. Quite clearly, water shouldn't be coming into the basement, yet when the water went down, there was no deterioration in the structure of the premises, and as a result, the court said no deterioration, no disrepair. In the Janet Rager case, again, we've got either poor workmanship or a design defect, again unclear, but damp was coming into the basement of the building. Janet Rager had a lease of the basement and the ground floor and ran it as a shop and a stockroom. It meant that because damp was coming in, everything, all of Janet Rager's stock was becoming covered in mold, and ultimately it meant that the property was unusable by Janet Rager. But the landlord's obligation to repair was the structure of the building, and there was no deterioration to the structure of the building, regardless of the fact that the premises were unusable. Just because you couldn't use them, lack of amenity, if there was no deterioration, no repair obligation had been triggered. And in Stent and Monmouth District Council, the door, a little bit like Post Office and Aquarius really, the door didn't keep out the rain. You and I would say the door was in disrepair or appallingly bad, and yet the failure of function, coupled with the lack of deterioration from the date it was constructed, so the date that that door was put in, had been no deterioration to the door. It was just a rubbish door. It didn't do its job when it was first put in. It didn't do the job now. And that meant there'd been no disrepair, which meant the obligation to repair or the ability to recover costs had not yet been triggered.